Hey everybody, welcome back to the Hilltop Pillbox here in Abbotsford, British Columbia, Canada. And I'm filming to you from Abbotsford because I had a minor kerfuffle. I was supposed to be headed down to Tulsa to do some game development with Historical Board Gaming for this last weekend, the weekend I'm on. And there's a few guys coming from around the continent. A couple of crazy Canucks and 4 or 5 Americans are going to be getting together to just talk shop, go over the rule sets, develop the rules for some fantastic new games, and to bring in some new expansions for the 36 game. And when I got to the border, I hauled out my beautiful Canadian passport, which is a much treasured item. And the guard said, "Well, what are you doing?" I said, "I'm going to play some games." "And why are you going to play games?" And they talked to me for about 5 minutes, and then I ended up being detained and fingerprinted and sent back to Canada. Yeah, they wouldn't let me through because they said that I am not allowed to, as a foreigner, advise an American on how to improve his business. And I gave him the "are you kidding me" look without actually saying anything, because of course border guards have no sense of humor whatsoever, officially on the job. I'm sure off the job they're wonderful people, but on the job, very much letter of whatever law they happen to enforce that day. But yeah, it was pretty sad, and I asked him if you could please give me an example of how this, this is makes any sense, basically. I forget exactly what I said, but it was very polite. And he said, "Well, imagine if there was a Mexican," and right there my eyes shot up, my eyebrows shot up, because I'm just like, I'm not a Mexican, I'm a Canadian. So, okay, but whatever. And then he said, "Well, imagine you're a Mexican who, he's living in a dump somewhere, and then someone in the States says, 'Come live at my place and work for me, and I'm not going to pay you, but you can, mow my lawn and do landscaping for me and haul stuff and, whatever. I'm not going to pay you any money, but I'll give you lodging or food or whatever.'" So I tried to finagle my way to, having him see that this is nothing like that whatsoever. But of course, no real chance. And again, I don't want to make a big stink, because then they'll never let me back in. And I mean, I'm not one for making an international incident out of this. But it really seemed as though the cards are stacked against me. So Doug and Will and the rest of the guys down there had apologized 100 times over. I can't believe it. But it is what it is. And so if there's any Canadians out there, if you're heading down to help somebody with a business, you're just going for fun to visit some friends. Because if you say, "Oh, and I'm going to mention how he can do better with his whatever business," they can now refuse you entry into America. And my passport got blocked for the few days that I said I'd be down there. So if I tried to go back, then they'd arrest me and charge me with illegal entry. So, and I don't need that on my record, which is pretty clean right now. So yeah, I decided to not even make a stink about it. I came home and played about an hour of a first-person shooter. Made me feel a little better. But that's unfortunate, because I was hoping to come back with a whole bunch of stuff for the channel and get you guys all informed, excited about some of the great things that are happening at HBG. But I will have to do that secondhand, unfortunately, and when they develop stuff and I get it up on the channel here, you'll be among the first to know. And yeah, looking forward to that. Pulling back a little bit from 36 for the next video, we're going to be doing 1939, as you may have surmised. And if you look at the map here, it was stored in such a way that it's kind of wavy. Nothing's cracked, there's nothing broken, but it's pretty wavy here. So I'm going to have to warm it up and flatten it out. And once I do that, we'll set it up and have a round and bring you all the exciting action. And we'll be playing with a lot of little extra units and facilities, like prisoner of war camps and hospitals and whatnot, tank traps and all those neat things so that you guys can see some of this stuff from 39. I talked to Doug about this, and he said, yeah, sure. He says we're still selling it. You know, people are still buying it. So, you know, it's a great game, folks. It really is. I think it's nestled very comfortably between the other company's games, Axis and Allies Global 1940, and Historical Board Gaming's 1936. So the complexity is above 1940, and the richness and depth and breadth of the game is greater than Axis and Allies, but it's not to the same complexity level and depth of 1936. So if you're looking for the creamy middle, this is the game for you. It usually plays within 8 hours, 6 to 10 hours you should set aside. Whereas 1936, as you know, you're always in the double digits and far beyond. And it's more, like I tell people, it's not really a game. It's an experience, is what it is. And you're learning about history. You're reinventing history. You are at the helm of many nations and some very, very critical decisions. You know, for instance, Italy doesn't even have to go to war. You know, there's that. So, a lot of very interesting things. With more of these games, like 1939 and old Axis and Allies games, and they're in, you know, global, and even the second editions and whatnot, third editions are out, and those very much will hold you by the hand and say, no, on this turn these guys are in, and on this turn these guys are in. And you have to do this, that, and the other thing. Whereas, you know, in 36, it's very much under your control. So, unlike crossing the border into America. So, if there's anybody from Mexico who's listening to this, and you're trying to cross the border legally, yeah, don't say you're going to go work for free somewhere, because they won't let you do it. And it's a sticky wicket. And of course, you can't fight the man on that. Not in that moment. And you don't want to be banned for a year or something if you have legitimate business to do. So, play nice. It's a good thing I do some acting, because inside my invisible head was just shaking. But the one the one that they were scanning the entire time to see if I'd have any backlash, I was just being very pleasant and very nice, and, oh, okay, sir, well, I'm sorry for doing that, and I'll go right back to Canada and go have some poutine, and we'll be all right. But just be aware of that. There is that obscure law that, you know, if you're going down to just give advice, you can't do it. Now, the funny thing is, I could do it up here through Skype, right, and that's legal. But if I set foot in the States and do it, now it's an illegal act, so I can't do it. It's really unfortunate, But I know they've been live streaming, and I believe they're going to be saving those to YouTube, to their YouTube channel. So check them out, and you'll see the new World War I game, and they're doing up an interwar game, and then of course 36 to 44. And I think the next one is 2025. They were talking about a Cold War game. I don't know if that was going to be spooled up for this weekend. And then 2025, which I've play tested for them for a bit up here. It's in the infant stages of you know, the rule book compared to 36, which is the granddaddy of all games right now. So hopefully you'll be able to catch those on either live streaming, because they'll be up all weekend here, or you can catch it in the archives that they're going to put it. Alright, but for the rest of it, hey, take care. Again, play nice at the border. And hopefully everybody has a great weekend. Have a safe weekend. Got some weather coming in my area, so be careful, and may the dice be with you.